I'm gonna deglaze. Oh, I forgot the mushrooms. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Hey everyone, I'm Sav and this is Lagom Eats. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make an oven braised rabbit. Rabbit meat is very tender and mild, a bit similar to chicken. So we're going to be searing the rabbit on the stove, then braising it in the oven with some wine and stock, which will make this super creamy and flavorful sauce. Let's take a look at the ingredients. We're going to need a 2.5 pound rabbit, half a cup of white wine, 1 cup of chicken stock, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, 1 shallot, 2 cloves of garlic, 4 ounces of pancetta, 8 ounces of mushrooms, half a cup of frozen peas, salt, and pepper. Let's get cooking. So we're using a 2.5 pound rabbit from Dartagnon, and if you are one of our subscribers, then you've heard me talk about this company a million times, but we love them. Their meats are all really high quality, free range, and use humane, sustainable farming practices. There's a link in the description below. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut up our rabbit. So if you open this belly flap, you'll see they left us some organs. We're not going to be using those today, but you can make some stock from them. These are the kidneys. We're going to cut those off. If you do use the kidneys, cut off all this fat as much as you can, because apparently bunny fat doesn't taste that great. So we'll start by cutting off these arms, and if you can see, here's the shoulder blade. It's actually not connected to the body by a bone, so they're super easy to cut off. You just want to cut underneath the shoulder blade right here. And you've got one bunny arm. Do the legs. You want to break it open a little bit. They're actually really easy. I think it's a lot easier than chicken. And we'll just cut off these legs. All right, so now we've got these little belly flaps. So we're just gonna cut that off. This, it's like bunny bacon basically. So if you want, you can cure it and smoke it. So if you've seen some of our other recipes, like in our duck à l'orange video, I have a different knife, just a chef's knife that I'm trying to cut up this duck with, and it's very difficult. We recently got this boning knife. It's pretty cheap. How much was it?
I think it was like 20 or 25 bucks. Something like that.
So like 25 bucks on Amazon, really cheap, and it's amazing. It makes it so much easier to butcher up meat. So I'll put a link in the description below if you need a knife like this. So now we've got this back strap of the rabbit, and this is kind of like the prized meat. So we want to cut this out, but we're gonna cut along the rib. So you'll find the last rib, which is actually like poking out, and we're just gonna cut along the rib right there. Make that cut. And then do that on the same side. We'll flip it over so you can kind of see more where the meat goes. And we're gonna continue just cutting that V. Back over, we're gonna break the backbone like that, and it kind of just pulls apart. Okay, so then now there's this tailbone that we don't want either. So we're going to just cut this off as well. Cutting another little V like this down the side. Either use your knife or you can use a cleaver like I'm gonna do, and you'll just chop it off. So now you can kind of clean up this meat a little bit, cut off some of this fat. So some people cut this in half, however, I'm going to leave it whole today. So there is our cut up rabbit. All right, let's season them. We're just doing some basic salt and pepper today. Do some freshly ground black pepper. And just make sure you get both sides. Now, while our meat is coming up to room temperature, let's go ahead and chop up our shallots. We're just gonna do a fine dice on these. Oops. Oh, my eyes are burning from that shallot. That's strong. We're just gonna mince up our garlic as well. You can use a microplane like I normally do, but And in the ingredients list, I forgot about 2 very important ingredients, rosemary and thyme. We're using about 3 small sprigs of rosemary and 3 sprigs of thyme. Take off these leaves. And then just run your knife through them. And then with the thyme, just take off the leaves. All right, so we are ready to start cooking. Let's turn on our stove to about medium-high. Let the pan heat up. All right, now we're going to dump in our pancetta. And we're gonna cook this until it is nice and crisp. All right, our pancetta is all nice and crispy, so we're going to remove it and put it in a bowl for now. You wanna leave that oil in the pan because that is what we're gonna fry our rabbit in. Okay, so now we're gonna use that oil to sear our rabbit. If you didn't use pancetta or there's not enough oil, you can also just put some canola oil in there. So we'll sear our rabbit about probably 3 to 4 minutes per side until it's browned. All right, let's go ahead and put these nice beautiful sear on that. See this back strap. All right, so we'll sear these for another 3 to 4 minutes on this side. Okay, so now we're going to just set these aside on a plate. We're going to continue with that oil. If you have a little too much oil, you can drain some of it. We want about 2 tablespoons, but we'll put in our shallots and our garlic. We'll let that saute for about 2 minutes. So I'm an idiot and forgot about all our sliced mushrooms that you would have added with the shallots and the garlic. So that's okay, no worries. We're gonna take out these shallots and garlic and set them aside. Okay, now we're gonna add in our sliced mushrooms. We're gonna saute these until they soften. All right, so our mushrooms are softened. Let's hit them with a little bit of salt and pepper. You don't have to do a ton right now. We'll season throughout the whole cooking process. Mix it in a little bit. Now at this point, we'll deglaze our pan with half a cup of white wine. Just let that simmer off for about a minute and make sure you get all those stuck on bits. All right, so at this point, we can start adding back all our ingredients. I mean, you should already have the shallots and the garlic in there, unless you forgot the mushrooms like me. We're gonna add our pancetta, our rosemary and thyme. We'll mix that in. All right, so now we're gonna add a cup of our stock. Bring that up to a simmer. All right, and now we're going to nestle our rabbit pieces back in the skillet. You want them like about quarter to halfway covered with the stock mixture. Now we're going to bake this at 325 for about 30-ish minutes until the rabbit reaches an internal temperature of 160 degrees. All right, our rabbit is done. It took about 25 minutes in the oven. We're just gonna take them out, and just like any meat, it needs to rest. So we will let it rest while we finish up our sauce. Looks amazing. It's still got that crispy skin because we didn't cover it. If you cover it, the skin's not gonna be as crispy, so I don't like to cover it. And gosh, it smells so good. Okay, so let's turn on our stove again. It's about medium. All right, so we let it reduce until the sauce has thickened up a bit. Since this is not homemade stock, it's not gonna thicken up really, really nicely because there's no gelatin in our stock. So we're gonna add in a little bit of cream, and this will help thicken up a bit more. Add in about a 1/4 cup. We'll stir that through. All right, now we're gonna let this reduce down again until it thickens as well. All right, our sauce is nice and thick. Now all we gotta do is stir through our peas. These are just frozen, they're already cooked. We're using about half a cup. We just gotta warm these up a bit. All right, let's taste our sauce, see if we need to add some more salt and pepper. It's actually perfect. My stock had a little bit of salt in it, and then all the salt from the rabbit is in there as well. So it's perfect. Add more salt and pepper to your taste. Let's add back in our rabbit and just heat them through again. All right, time to plate it up. Just gonna put some of these veggies on the bottom. See, I'll try one of these legs. Drizzle that over. And then if you want, you can just garnish with a little bit of parsley, or you can use chives. All right, let's dig into this. Super tender. Looks really juicy. Get some of these peas and mushrooms and alright. You guys will really be surprised just how tender that is. And it's super mild. I mean, there's not a big gamey flavor. If you like chicken, which most people do, you're gonna love rabbit. I know it's not a meat that we normally eat, but if you're kind of sick of just doing chicken dinners every single night, switch it up, try some rabbit. It's absolutely delicious. I promise even the kids are gonna love it. I hope you guys enjoyed my oven braised rabbit. The full recipe can be found on my food blog at logameats.com. I've got new delicious dishes coming out every week, so hit a like and subscribe below. I'll see you guys next time. Hey-do.